Thank you, Pisha. Okay, let's get started. Thank you all for hanging and bearing with us. Okay, imagine an old growth forest. Think about how many components are necessary to create such a nutrient-rich and life-sustaining environment. From the mycorrhizal fungi below the forest soil to the nurse log serving as a backbone to future forest giants. Now, think of an orchestra. Think of the countless musicians and diverse range of instruments coming together with the common goal of performing beautiful music and symphony to a large audience. So Mia, why all these metaphors? Well, the collective impact framework follows this same line of thinking, collective action for collective gain. Born from the idea that no single organization or policy can solve complex issues on its own, this framework has been utilized across the broader social sector since its publication in 2011. I personally encountered the framework for the first time during my internship with the Sustainability Ambassadors, where I was able to learn how they choose to utilize each of these 5 components to rapidly advance a sustainable future. These 5 components of the collective impact framework are deemed the necessary pieces to achieving collective impact, or in other words, achieving positive change through collaborative process. Please remember this. So, keeping this in mind, I asked myself the question, how might environmental organizations need to adapt to this framework to achieve their mission or their goals? So while asking myself this question, I focused mainly or specifically on the sustainability ambassadors and was able to utilize them as a sort of case study. So during my internship, I interacted with middle and high school students, teachers across King County, and sustainability career professionals to support the Sustainability Ambassadors programs and events like the Green Economy Institute, where this photo was taken. The students on the left, and then the sustainability career professional on the right. While understanding and trying to understand the complexities of associating with each of these different community groups, I relied heavily on existing literature around the collective impact framework and its utilization since its publication. By doing this, or while doing this, I was able to form a generative relationship with my site supervisor because I was able to keep him informed as well as the core members of the Sustainability Ambassadors team. By doing this, I was able to form the trust necessary to conduct this research and view them as a case study. Bringing it back to the framework itself, these are the 5 components. A backbone organization refers to when 2 parties are collaborating, there is a need for a third party to facilitate the work of the group. All participants must also develop a common agenda or common goal to guide the work of the group, while also developing a shared measurement and tracking system for any kinds of data and results. All participants must also develop mutually reinforcing activities. These are supposed to support all members and not just one participant, while also practicing open and continuous communication. The Sustainability Ambassadors have basically localized each of these goals. By developing meaningful partnerships across the environmental and educational sector, they've successfully facilitated events and programs that support teachers and students and connect them to sustainability career professionals. Their common agenda of rapidly advancing a sustainable future is not only shared by them and their partners during times of collaborative process, but is instead embodied throughout their operations as a mission-driven organization. As an organization, they are also consistently measuring collective and individual impact. By planning events that center collaborative process and including members of their community, they're able to actively and consistently share their projects and events and data with their served communities. By doing this, they strengthen these relationships with their local stakeholders, building into this idea of community enrichment, which I found that community enrichment is an essential part of achieving collective impact, especially on the local level. The last component, open and continuous communication, is the most difficult. Due to the wide range of communities that they wish to serve, combined with their smaller staff, they currently don't have the resources available to them to become the best facilitators or communicators at this time. So to recap, the Sustainability Ambassadors have essentially adapted each of these 5 components, localized the main mission of collective impact, and embodied it throughout their operations with future growth in mind. As a case study, they provide a unique example of how this framework can be utilized in the future within the environmental sector. I want you all to keep in mind that the collective impact framework is just one example among a myriad of coalitions and other forms of organizational partnership, but I offer this opportunity to be a chance to look more into collaborative efforts during combating the climate crisis. I believe that with the proper frameworks in place and the collaborative efforts of many, we can generate long-term intersectional solutions to combating the climate crisis while inspiring meaningful change and meaningful partnership across lines of difference. I would like to thank Peter Donaldson and the entire Sustainable Ambassadors team for trusting me with this knowledge. My faculty advisor, Keith Harris, who unfortunately is not here, but he gave really good pep talks. And my POE cohort and my friends and my family, for without them, none of this would have been possible. Thank you so much.
Do you have a question for me?
Oh, hi. Thank you for that question. So the question was essentially, why is open and continuous communication one of the more difficult components to utilize? So we have a lot of teachers and students in this audience. Teachers have a lot going on, students have a lot going on. They all have their own sort of like agendas and things that they want to accomplish. And so currently the Sustainable Ambassadors only have 3 core members, which is not a lot of people to think about what students need and what teachers are kind of doing. So as also like larger organizations who are looking to collaborate with the Sustainable Ambassadors. So it's a little bit difficult to navigate everybody's agendas at this time, but they're looking to expand and grow in the future so that they're able to accommodate for everyone's needs. Thank you for that question.